Hi folks, good morning. So today we are going to be looking at the sequence of topics for CFA Level 1. This is Madhusudan Chandrasekhar, the Chief Trainer here at FinTrainers. So I train people for all the levels of CFA, both the parts for FRM, the CMA US parts, and I also teach the financial modeling turbo program here. So we are going to be kickstarting our CFA Level 1 curriculum for the August batch. So people are taking exams in August in just a couple of weeks. So it's the last 2 weeks if you haven't enrolled to enroll before we start the batch. So here I'm going to talk about the topics, the sequence in which we cover here at FinTrainers and why we do that. The CFA Institute sends the material out in a certain sequence. It starts with ethics, quant, right? But it is not always the ideal way for you to learn. So with years of teaching, what we have learned is this sequence is one of the easiest for most students to follow. People who are not exposed to finance in an exhaustive way, who haven't done a lot of statistics, etc., this sequence works the best. Right. So we start with corporate finance. So corporate finance is, in my experience, one of the easiest. No one finds it very difficult to understand. So we kickstart with a topic that most people will enjoy, and it also sets the foundation for some of the other topics as well here. So from corporate finance, we move on to equity. Equity is also a nice, interesting topic. A lot of people who have done some finance would have studied equity, and but not the other asset classes. So corporate finance, equity. So we finish two important topics, and then we cover FRA or the FSA, the financial reporting and analysis. So these three together form the first part of our classes. So we typically take around 30 to 35 hours of classes to cover these three topics. And after those, we come into the other asset classes. So fixed income. Fixed income, I would like to start first because it's actually one of the most difficult topics in CFA Level 1. We want to give it enough time to revise. We need to start a little bit earlier. A lot of times people leave it to the end, and in the last month, they figure out that fixed income is not something they can master. So start a little early. So after finishing these three important topics, then we jump into fixed income. It also lends well into the derivatives. So here we wrap up the other three asset classes, right? And then we go into quant. So quant is very important, and it is also interesting. And by this time, people, even if they don't have enough exposure to math, by now they should be comfortable doing quant. And then we come into a very important topic of portfolio management, right? So we wrap up all of these key areas here. Then there are two topics which are really not related to the rest of the other 8 books here. So ethics is so important. CFA Institute places so much emphasis on ethics and integrity. So if you're just in the borderline, ethics plays a role where it can either make you pass the exam or fail the exam, and it is a relatively high weightage. So ethics is something that you want to read throughout, at least there's some of the parts of it, but you need to spend a lot of time at the end as well, right? So we don't cover it completely at the beginning or at the end. This is something that is spread throughout with a skew towards the end. So we will spend a lot of the topics at the end, because in terms of short-term memory, that will help, because you need to remember a lot of things, standards with ethics, and doing it at the end helps you. So we will cover this in the last part of the learning module, right? So after the learning, we come to the mock test, the practice, and then the revision. But in the learning module itself, we will push it to the end. Economics is also a standalone one, right? And unless you have taken economics, this will be not so easy or interesting for you. So we keep it again at the end. So just before we wrap up ethics, we focus on economics. We spend around 15 hours there covering economics, and that should suffice. So again, we try to utilize your short-term memory. But For all of these topics, in the proprietary methodology that we use is we start a subject and then there is a certain time at which we again revise. Even when we are covering FRA, we will again go back to corporate finance. We try to push the short-term memory into your long-term so that when it comes to the time of practicing and revision, it doesn't feel like you have not done anything. You have not learned. You don't remember. It doesn't happen. So we do revision and review of the previously covered topics throughout the course, right? So same thing when we come to economics, we want to do it at the end, but then we will again review it during your practice, during the mock tests and all of the classroom hours that we will have post the mock test for your questions where you can come in for any kind of doubts you might have. So now I want to quickly talk about the methodology of classes and how we will teach here. So we will start the first few classes with a boot camp. So we assume here people coming in might not have all of the finance knowledge, might not have even studied finance, might not be good with math, whatever it is. So we have a preparatory session so that everyone is on the same page. We teach what is a balance sheet, what are the statements, what is time value of money. So the basics of finance, how to use the financial calculator, right? And also the study strategy for the next 6 months. So now until August, how can you prep? Ensure that you are increasing the odds of your success. After the boot camp, this is the sequence we are going to be following. As I said, it will be alternated and interspersed with constant revision. Then post this learning, we are going to have 5 mock tests and we will review each and every one of those questions, MCQs there. So then we have the 3-day intensive review at the end covering all these 10 topics to give you the boost right before the exams. All right, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to help you there. See you. Bye.